32,180, so a fresh high for the Nifty Bank.
There's just about consolidation with a little bit of a negative bias at this point.
1 point change on the Nifty and things are looking absolutely quiet.
Although the market is flat, the Nifty Bank has erased some of its gains post its record high opening. So the mid-cap index is down over 100 points.
Nifty fails to hold opening highs, closes near day's low. Sensex slips 246 from its intraday record high of 41,185. Except IT, all sectoral indices close in the red. Metals fall the most.
Nifty Bank hits a new high as traders digest news that the SR Steel resolution is well underway, but higher bond yields force a flat close.
Some pharma stocks rise after the National Pharmaceuticals Pricing Authority increases prices of 21 formulations. Sun Pharma slips after its Halol plant gets 8 observations from the American drug regulator.
Jindal Steel and Power's winning bid for the Gare Palma coal block in Chhattisgarh is rejected. Coal ministry sources say the allotment was not approved in what they call public interest.
And inflationary concerns rise. Experts fear increase in price of milk and medicines may push CPI inflation higher by around half a percentage point by March. Bond yields rise as RBI governor says the central bank remains committed to the 4% inflation target. Well, those were the top 5 headlines from Dalal Street on a day. There was so much activity, and in the end, the indices ended pretty much where they closed on Friday, or in fact a little lower if you looked at the mid-caps. Welcome to Markets Today, the show where we will tell you everything that happened in those 6 hours of trading in just 5 headlines. I'm Lata Venkatesh, with me my colleague Prashant Nair. Hi Prashant.
Lata, hi. 30 points lower this Monday, and after that very strong move on Friday, I guess today we were just digesting those gains because the news was probably in the price on Friday itself. But over the next 30 minutes, we get you lots of stories, opinion, views. We've got a packed show. Deepan Sheth will talk us through his outlook for Dalal Street from here out. SBI's Dinesh Kumar Khara elaborates on how much the bank will recover from the SR Steel resolution, and of course some of the other cases of NPA resolution as well. We will get to all of that in just a bit. But as always, we spend 2 minutes looking at the day itself, how we started and where we finally left off and what happened in those 6 hours. Lata.
Well, the weekend actually brought a great deal of good cheer because it appeared that phase 1 of the US-China deal had been struck, and at least the December 15 tariffs will not come into effect or have not come into effect. But that's not how the markets read it. The risk markets, commodities and equities were very lukewarm. I mean, your Asian markets were mixed. Commodities fell in Shanghai trading. So clearly, everyone thought there wasn't that much steam in that deal. Maybe people think that there is still uncertainty left, and so investments will not pick up. Commodities, in any case, did not react positively. Indian metal stocks also fell. The other positive news which we thought should have fired up stocks is the SR Steel payout. ArcelorMittal actually wrote the check and the banks encashed the check over the weekend. 40,000 crores plus, 12,160 crores for SBI alone. Why wasn't there celebration? There was at the start of the day, but then the bank Nifty rapidly gave way because inflation fears started increasing. And why was that? Again, 2 weekend news. Milk and medicines have become expensive, more than we thought on Friday. So first you had the telecom tariffs which get into core inflation. Now you have milk. Milk is not core. It's more food inflation. Then you have medicines which get into core inflation. So basically, you're probably going to have a Reserve Bank that will stare at 6% inflation for at least 4 months. Originally, we thought it'll be 2 months, onion related, December and January at best. But now it looks like it will be February and March as well, which means a rate cut doesn't come perhaps in April, but maybe later on. And that is what the bond yields told you. And maybe that is what led to some profit taking in banks and non-banks. So the governor saying that 4% inflation is important was another nail in the coffin, as it were. Well, maybe that's strong. The bulls have only lost a little bit, maybe a day's profit taking, you would say.
Well, it looks like it, Lata. I mean, mild and market breadth was positive, 2:1. So broader markets did quite okay. Let me quickly take you through what did well and where was their action. The The sectors which moved, I mean, there was the IT index, which actually was the gainer, the sole gainer, and unambiguously positive. FMCG was down, autos were lower. So, that's basically what was up and down today. Okay, let's just start with Nifty losers. I mean, the index itself was down. So, Grasim, Adani Ports and ITC come right on top. So, they are between 1.5% to 2.5% losses there. Winners for the second day running, actually the third day running, techs have been doing well. TCS, HCL Tech, Tech Mahindra are the three top absolute Nifty gainers today. So that's IT for you. Broader market gains, as I said, the breadth was positive. So Ujjivan Small Finance Bank saw a sharp 12.5% move. Mastech was up 11%. Big volumes. Liberty Shoes, 2.5 million shares on this. Jubilant Industries, JM Financial, IRB, Repco was a very large mover. We had Apex Frozen Foods, eClerks, Kiri Industries were some of the other sort of gainers. Which were the broader losers today? They'll come up on your screen. Bandhan Bank, we'll discuss this in a bit more detail in a bit. SAIL, M&M Finance, Dish TV, Sterlite Tech, NIIT Limited. There was Shipping Corporation and something like a BF Utilities, which was down and out as well. But as I said, I mean, there were more winners as compared to losers. I mean, almost in the ratios of about 2:1. Lata.
Okay, thanks a lot for that. That's the color of the market. And actually, by end of day, the number of declining stocks surpassed the number of advancing stocks as well. So even that positive breadth didn't last very long. Okay, with that, let's get to other headlines. But let's get to some opinion before that. We spoke with Deepan Seth of HDFC Securities, and he explained why he thinks flows into emerging markets will continue to rise. And that's why he's betting. He prefers still the defensive bet of IT stocks.
The global economy seems to be set for a slightly better time and a time of more certainty. What with at least one phase of the US-China talks landing into somewhat positive territory. Okay, so I think that is leading to, and of course the unrestrained printing of fiat money, as it were, globally is showing no signs of stopping. So a lot of that money will now flow into some kind of risk taking in the emerging markets, and hence we will see a nifty uptick. I don't know whether it means that the companies themselves are going to do well or whether they deserve a better rating, but you cannot deny that tide. I think there has certainly been a case for value in HCL Tech for some time, and now with the possibility of a sane Brexit playing out, the macro tailwinds that might play out in the UK, the confidence with which UK businesses will spend, all of this adds up to augur well for any UK business, and HCL Tech is no exception. The interesting thing about Gujarat Gas is that right now CNG is nowhere in their mix as much as it is for IGL, and they are rolling out CNG stations aggressively across Gujarat. Barring one or two areas in Gujarat, they have complete exclusivity. So I think over the next 4 or 5 years, margins will gradually inch up as they get into the sweeter space.
Okay, Deepan Seth of HDFC Securities. There is the second headline then now. Nifty Bank hit a new high as traders digested news that the SR Steel resolution was well underway. But higher bond yields was a dampener. The index slipped 213 points from the record 32,180 to close absolutely flat. HDFC Bank and Axis Bank were the key drags, while Kotak Bank and ICICI provided support. We caught up with Dinesh Kumar Khara, Managing Director of State Bank of India, and he said that their net recovery from the SR Steel case is over 12,000 crore rupees. Listen in.
Lucky to have this kind of a recovery. I would say that the way things are panning out, I would say that long wait is now fructifying, and of course, SR resolution is a very welcome step for all the financial creditors. So we are having the net recovery of more than 12,000 crore in this whole process. Well, since we had provided for this asset fully 100%, so now this will all go to the profit and loss account straight away.
Okay, so that was the complex of factors. Talking about insolvency cases, Ruchi Soya's debt resolution is also getting, okay, it may get delayed by a week or so versus earlier expectations that the resolution is going to happen this evening itself. Ritu Singh has all those details. Tell us, Ritu.
Well, you know, Ruchi Soya, where banks have about 9,300 crores of exposure, we had reported earlier that banks were expecting to see recovery as early as this evening itself with the implementation of the resolution plan. But now that may face a little bit of a delay, as we are given to understand that Patanjali Ayurved, which is the winning bidder for Ruchi Soya under IBC, has filed a petition in the NCLAT seeking 7 more days' time to implement this resolution plan. The reason for which, of course, we've not immediately been able to ascertain, but banking sources did say that they may seek some cushion, even though they've tied up the funding to acquire Ruchi Soya already with about 5 banks, including SBI, Union Bank, PNB and others. Remember, when the implementation does happen, it may not happen immediately. It will happen in 7 days. Banks will recover almost 48% of their dues, with the total amount set to be repaid to the secure financial creditors at a little over 4,000 crore rupees.
Okay. Ritu, thanks very much for that. So that is the Patanjali Ruchi Soya deal. Patanjali essentially asking for more time, 7 more days for the for the resolution for the bid. Well, the third headline then today: pharma stocks have had a mixed day in trade. Nifty Pharma Index ended the day in the red, dragged by Lupin and GSK Pharma. However, stocks like JB Chemicals rose in trade after the National Pharmaceutical Pricing Authority (NPPA) hiked the prices of 21 essential drugs by 50%. My colleague Ekta joins in with the wrap of the day's pharma action. Ekta.
Well, yes, a lot of the domestic pharmaceutical companies were in focus on account of the government raising the prices of 21 formulations in the domestic market, and that was on account of a hike or a steep rise that we've seen in API prices or input prices, which basically go into the manufacturing of these drugs, mainly because they're imported from China. They've seen a rise of anywhere between 5 to even 80% in terms of API prices. One of the key beneficiaries of this price hike is JB Chemicals and their brand Metrogel, which is an antibacterial brand. It's around a 90 crore brand, and the company did say that they are going to undertake price hikes from the next batch they manufacture. The total impact should be around 5% of their total domestic formulation sales in India. Separately, Glenmark is in focus on account of the Buddy unit getting the EU compliance certificate. Positive news, because remember, the Buddy unit currently is under warning letter from the US FDA.
All that was positive, Ekta, but Sun did not participate. It fell because of some Halol facility problem.
Well, yes, it wasn't that good a day in terms of news for Sun Pharmaceuticals, because they were reacting to the fact that their Halol plant has received 8 observations from the US FDA. Now, remember that the Halol facility has been under the US FDA scanner in the past. They had received a warning letter in 2015. It was eventually lifted a couple of years later. And after that, they have seen successful inspections as well. So the street is probably a little uncertain because the number of the observations are large, and Sun Pharma's Halol facility has increased in terms of contribution. It contributes to around 10 to 15% of Sun Pharma's US sales as of now. But we don't know the details of the observations, so the street will be looking out for that closely.
Okay, Ekta, thank you very much for that. That's pharma for you. We'll take a quick break here, the first of the show, but stay tuned. We'll be back in a jiffy with other headlines and more opinion in just a bit.